Good evening, and welcome to Productions Vintage Radio Hour. Our collaboration with 30 performers from across the country, an outstanding production staff, and the legacy of audio entertainment that harkens back to the golden days of radio will bring you 12 shows filled with suspense, mystery, fear, and maybe a little murder. The upcoming show, The Low Road, originally airing in 1947 and written by Wyllis Cooper, is set in the Highlands of Scotland and features Scott Willis, Rick Clark, and Liz Girvin, with the Clark cousins, Josie and Scarlett's musical talents, in a heartbreaking tale about brotherly love, betrayal, and rage. Stay tuned after the show for the second part of our doubleheader and the conclusion of this season of the Vintage Radio Hour, The Big Box, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now,
by yon bonny banks and by yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond.
In the evening, in the fair evening, I stand by the banks of Loch Lomond, and the crest of Ben Lomond is golden in the last sun across the water. And here is the first blue dusk of evening along the breeze, and the black mountain behind me as it was all those years ago, when I, proud in my first kilt and my fine Balmoral broad bonnet with red Tory upon it, stood and watched another sunset upon the Ben. Aye, and it was many years ago when I said goodbye to Loch Lomond and the Vale of Leven, and took a ship, a lone laddie, for America, sailing away from Dumbarton, where Robert the Bruce himself one time built his ships. Around Loch Lomond is the land of the Colquhouns, and I am of that ilk, being named Robert Kilpatrick Colquhoun, for the founder of the clan Colquhoun, who in these lands from Malcolm of Lennox in the time of Alexander the Great. And now I have lost that burr from my voice in those long motherless years in the New World. But I have not forgotten these bonny braes and the setting sun on the mountain across Loch Lomond. And I can still shout out our clan's war cry, Knock-a-liken, with any man that wears a sprig of dogberry in his bonnet. Aye, and the feel of the fellabeg, the smoke kilt, it's a good about my knees. And the skiing do, the little black knife in my stocking top, it's a comfort. I have found that I remember a lot of things. My grandfather, when I was small, taught me to be 24 tottens, and today I seen the yellow and black MacLeod and the green and black and red Leslie, very difficult to tell from our own, and even an ancient person in the dark and blue and light blue of the clergy. And I'm happy that my brother Patrick has come down from the town to stand on the banks of Loch Lomond with me and watch the sunset shadows crawl up the slopes of the Ben Lomond.
do you find it as you remembered it, Robert?
Aye, it's the same, Patrick, though the loch seems smaller and the mountains are not so high as they were then.
Mumby yourself has grown bigger, lad. For I've been here to see him every day of the years you've been away, and they haven't changed at all. At all.
It was a joke I was making, Patrick.
Oh. Well, Aiblins, you'd like to walk along the shore up towards Glen Douglas?
Along the old path.
Ah, the old path isn't there no more, Robert. We might just walk up the high road to Inverberg if you like. There's time before dark, if you will.
The high road? Well, I've not heard that word in speech for many's a long year, Patrick.
You mind the song, though?
Aye, I mind the song. Many's the time I heard the song sung back there in the States. And even the times I've heard them making it a jazz song in the nightclubs,
Oh, they didn't do that.
Aye, they do. Oh, but they're Sassenachs. They do it, that not knowing the meaning.
But what do you do about it?
Well, nothing.
Nothing. Are you a Scot?
What's the good? I'm not be tanked for interference, so I take the song to my heart. And a good time, I come back to Scotland.
And God be thanking that you came to the high road, Robert.
High road or low road, we all come back.
Aye. You mind how grandfather told us how Charlie's men came back from Carlisle along this very road on the way to Culloden in the 45?
All that was left of the 6,000 that invaded England, marching back to the Well of the Dead.
Aye, and the low road crowded too, with them that was left behind at Carlisle.
Patrick, you ever heard him at night, as grandfather used to tell?
There is many a strange thing to be heard of a winter's night along the banks of Loch Lomond, Robert. I have heard the coronach skirling among the braes on a night when no living man would be out in a storm, and wake to hear the news of death in the village in the morning.
You're afraid, Patrick.
Aye, we're afraid, we Scots. We hear things that other men canna hear, and we see things that nobody hears but us. And here among the lowering crags and the dark tarns, we're aye closer to death and all his secrets than other race upon the earth. Aye, we're a dowie, fey folk, Robert. And now the sun is set, shall we no be turning our steps back to the village and the guild where we walked?
Now that I've forgotten, Patrick.
Well, you have been a long time away from home then, Robert, to have forgot that the guild where he walked is a gay long drink of Uskabea. Come along now, before the boggles of the night come out and charm you away with their singing.
Listen.
And my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond.
Ben Lomond has looked upon many as the dying sun since that night I have first heard your voice, Janet. The winds that stir the heather in the vale of the Lament tonight are Cornish above your lonely grave beside the bonny banks of the lonely loch. And there was prophecy in the words of the song you sang, Janet.
We'll never meet again.
For neither the high road nor the low road brought your lover back in time. I saw you first, Janet, in the gloaming, and Orion the mighty hunter was rising up behind you. I saw him not as the huntsman he seems to others, but as a giant in kilt and plaid, with Aldebaran for a cornigum on his shoulder, and the mighty drones of his war pipes upon his arm. And from the jewel-studded chanter that some think to be a sword came the high, wild skirling of the Highland song that was old when Kenneth MacAfalfin was the king of the Picts and Scots. And I heard the song many other times, and as Orion mightily rises above Ben Lomond, or above the thousand widowed towers of the city far away. And then I remember the old road awaits me, Janet. And a day will come when I shall hear the lament and follow the ancient pipes back to the land where hence I came. I had no words when I first saw you, Janet. Oh, I remember how my brother spoke your name. I remember how he called you by the old Gaelic, Sinead.
You'd not be remembering Sinead MacFarlane, Robert.
And you spoke, Janet. Sinead.
I was a wee bairn when you went away, Robert, all those years since, but I remember you.
You remember me? Oh, you not know me, though, Janet. Sinead, now, I'm a grown man.
Oh, no, but that you look like Patrick. I know you, Robert.
And I stared at her in the dusk until she laughed.
But you'll know me another time. Robert, frae the way you're goggling at me, the know.
And I spoke. Like some backcountry loon, I spoke. I said, you're so beautiful, Sinead. And Patrick laughed too.
Robert thought he some boggle or kelpie in the dark, Sinead, so he was blethering about the lake.
Aye then, Robert, see you mind yourself, for 'tis true that our fairy folk that dwell beside the loch.
When I spoke like a loon again, and a long forgotten bird came to my tongue as I said, "Oh, aye, it was something that I found in them, Sinead." Long walks in the sunny days of the fall, up the steep hill above Rudamar to the Fockle Loch, where the waters are forever blue because the fairies used to wash the clothes there. Down to scones and wild bramble jam at Inverberg, across the Loch of Roden, and once we climbed Ben Lomond itself and sat to watch the sun go behind the Black Mountain. Patrick and Sinead and me, and a song. That song.
On shady glen, on the steep, steep side of Ben Lomond.
Patrick and Sinead and me. And one day at last, only Sinead and me. It's the first time, Sinead, you and I have been alone together.
Why, so 'tis, Rob.
I had begun to think you never wanted to be alone with me, Sinead.
Had you?
Aye. Is it so?
Do you think so?
Sinead,
Yes, Rob.
I must go back to America soon.
To America? I thought you had come to stay.
Oh, no, not this time. Another time I'll come back to stay.
We will be sorry to see you go, Rob. It's been good having you. But must you go?
Oh, will you care?
I will care, aye.
But Sinead, do you know what I'm trying to say to you?
Aye, Rob.
Well, must I say it?
Dinna say it.
Sinead, I love you.
Aye. I ken you do, Rob.
I love you.
You have loved me ever since the first time you saw me.
You knew it.
I saw your face in the starlight, Rob.
Oh, Sinead.
No.
Dearest Sinead.
No, Rob, no.
But you know, but...
Rob, hasna Patrick said aught to you?
Patrick?
Aye, Patrick, your ain brother.
Janet, no.
Aye, Rob, didn't you ken that we are betrothed?
And the skies above me darkened then. I saw the white living fire lash at the brow of Ben Lomond across the loch, and through the thunder's crash, a burst of music from the blackened skies, louder than the roar of the drones of the great war pipes on the McCrimmon, and the music hammered at me like the blows of the Lochaber axe. And at that moment, I hated my brother. We Scots are a strange race. There's something in us of the berserk Norsemen who came to conquer us, and it's become a part of us. And there is something of the Pict in us. The dark dwarfs repose their bare blue painted bodies across the wicket, short swords and darting spears of the Agricora's legions from Rome. And amongst us there are men from races that you might not see on a Roman coin of Hadrian's time, for we do not put all our Roman captives to the sword. A strange race, strange even to ourselves. A race of violent men with all the virtues of our forefathers, and not a little of their forgotten wickedness. A brother has hated brother before in Scotland. We're not Protestant Campbells, arrayed against Charles Edward at Culloden. Was not the very chief of my own clan slain by Alistair MacGregor 300 years ago? I hated my brother.
Me, I was no sure about it. I didn't ken why I didn't tell Robert about Sinead and myself. Aiblins, I thought Sinead herself would tell him. Aiblins, I hesitated about it, thinking a better day would come and a fairer opportunity. I didn't ken. Now I can see that perhaps that scather could have been avoided had I just spoke the right words at the right time. Or maybe it couldn't. Anyways, it was too late. Robert spoke to me.
You're a lucky man, Patrick.
Oh, hi.
Aye, you're a lucky man.
And what's brought that up, Robbie?
I mean about Sinead.
Oh, you know about it then?
She told me.
Oh, well, I mean to tell you about it before, Rob, but somehow or other.
Well, it wasn't quite fair to me, you know.
I ken that, Robbie, and I'm sorry, but I
Forget about it, Patrick.
know, but
Forget it. I'm going back to the States next week.
oh no. Why, you said you was come to stay, Robbie.
I thought so at first, but I can't stay.
Is it because Sinead?
Well, that's part of it, Pat. As a matter of fact, I told her I was going back.
You did?
It was by way of asking her if she'd come back to the States with me that I didn't know, Pat.
I should have told you.
Yes, you should have. I thought she might have loved me. But well, you're a lucky man, Pat.
Oh, hi, Robbie. But no a happy one the new.
It's all right, Pat. Yes. So you see, I've got an even better reason for leaving now.
Aye. Aye, so. You'll be leaving soon then, eh?
Very soon, next week.
I looked forward so many years to seeing you again, Rob.
Well, you've seen me, Patrick. And you know, even if Jan hadn't already said word to you, even if she'd been free, even if she'd have said yes to me, I couldn't have stayed anyway.
Why, Robbie?
Because I knew you loved her. And I thought if I'd proved myself the better man to her and married her, even then one of us would have had to leave, wouldn't we?
Well,
Oh, this is home to you. I have another home. You know? I haven't seen Loch Lomond in nearly 30 years, and I've seen it. I've seen you. You do see I must go, don't you?
aye,
Well then,
aye. Well then.
I couldn't say it to my brother. There's a better reason than any other for me leaving. Couldn't say it to my brother, Patrick. I hate you. I couldn't tell him that if I stayed, a day would come when I knew in my heart that if I stayed, I didn't want the crime of murder on my soul. Not then, I didn't. But in the dark of the night, alone at the window, staring out at Orion striding across the sky, and shutting my eyes and seeing the bright hair of Sinead against the pattern of Beetlejuice and Albanerin in the blackness of the sky above Ben Lomond. Then another thought came. And I opened my eyes, and that great smouldering red star that some folk call Sirius the Dog Star, that star was the hilt of a blood-stained skidoo that the mighty piper of the skies carried. Even as I did in his stocking, the little black shafted knife that is as much part of the Highland dress as a plaidie sporan or philibeg, and the toneless rhythm of McCrimmon's lament, return, return, return no more.
We'll never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Lament.
And I, Robert Kirkpatrick Cahoon of Lass and Dumbartonshire, fell to my knees, and I prayed in the night that I should not slay my brother.
I am glad he's going. Had it not been for the word I gave Patrick, if he stayed. I love Patrick. I love Patrick. It's good that he's taken Patrick with him to see him off on the ship that will take him back to America. Patrick has never been out of Scotland. It will be good for him to have a few days alone with his brother, to laugh together and talk of old days, and then to say goodbye. Come back soon, Patrick. Come back to Scotland.
Down the high road through Balloch in a bumpy motorbus, down above Kilpatrick along the hillside and John Brown's shipyard along the Clyde, onto the Great Western Road and the last into Glasgow. And my heart is heavy in my breast. But my brother is gay at the thought of a few days with me, to talk man talk, and perhaps to sit in an ancient public house in the City of the Bells, and take a stour of Doorg and Lament, and another, and then another, till our pits ring louder than all the bells of Glasgow put together. And this we do, aye, this we do. And in the heavy peat-smoked reek of the unblooded spirit, we are suddenly brothers again, with naught but song and story between us. But there is an end to the night, and in the biting air of the streets, sobriety comes to me, and above me the mighty piper takes his stately way, and faintly, faintly, a certain rhythm that beats itself out to the sound of our echoing footsteps. Patrick's only faintly puzzled when I say no to the Doc and Doris, the drink at the door, and I make my way to the room, stony sober, to sit the night out.
We'll never meet again.
South from Glasgow, and a sudden impulse at Carlisle, the first town on the English side of the border. Here it was that song that was born. Do you know it? It was after the 45, after Prince Charles' invasion of England with the 6,000 men. He paused at Carlisle, and the wounded that were too far gone to struggle north with him were left, and many of them died. It was some sourly wounded old dour warrior who took leave of a comrade still able to march. He knew his fate was upon him, and his farewell was as dour as anything he had ever did in a hard life. "Y'all take the high road," he said to his friend. "Y'all take the high road, and I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland before ya." You don't understand. The low road is the last way home for the Scot who dies beyond the border, beyond the sea. It's the long way home for many a man. That's why we don't like to have it sung the way we sometimes hear it. Would you remember that? Oh no, that's isn't the end of the story. We saw the jail in Carlisle, and the place where they hang the men of the Highlands who couldn't take the high road. We stayed there 2 days. We were about ready to leave when a telegram came. Sinead, She was dying. She had been stricken suddenly, and the telegram had followed us from Glasgow. It was addressed to Patrick, but I opened it. I think I went mad at that moment. I flung myself down the stairway of the little inn where we were staying. There was a hire garage across the street. I ran inside, and I remember I was screaming. But I got a car. I flung all the money in the man's face, and I leapt into the seat of the car. Patrick? I didn't even think of Patrick. Not even when he came racing out of the door, waving the telegram that I had dropped it in my haste. I didn't even think of Patrick even when the car struck him and flung him, still screaming, under the wheelers as I headed out the high road to the north and Loch Lomond. I have confused memories of that ride northward. I rode past the border guards, through Greta Green and Dumfries, and through Ayr and Kilmarnock, through the streets of Gasclow in the earliest hours of the morning. A thick policeman shouted at me. Probably someone chased me. Certainly there were motorcycles waiting for me when I passed through Bullock, my tires screaming like banshees at the tight turn there, and motorcycles scattered all which ways. And up the high road to Loch Lomond to Luss, where Sinead lay dying. I called her name. And the high road stretched white ahead of me. And I had confused thought that there was another road alongside me, and a hurried crowd of men were racing along with me. I could have sworn that I caught a glimpse of a broad Balmoral bonnet flying across the road in the glare of the headlamps, and I could see the golden heart's head badge of the Cahoons upon it, and a red Tory that somehow seemed to be bloody. I drove faster and faster and faster, and the men on the other road kept pace with me, and I couldn't have sworn I heard the skirl of pipes. Was it Patrick that said that the skirl of the cornet shall burn the braes, and the waters of the lochs gleaming blackly in my headlamps? And then at last the white church at Luss. Yes, I was late. Sinead was dead. The telegram had been delayed 2 days, you remember. And so I walked down the high road to the little churchyard. Somewhere I heard a clock strike 3. I looked up the sky, and Orion was there, and the red jewel in the haft of the ski-and-do glaringly eviling down at me. And yes, I found Sinead's grave, her new-made grave. And in the starlight that came down from the figure of the great piper above me, there stood another figure. A figure in full Highland dress, with plaidy and shawl, with bonnet and claymore and sporran, and the golden heart's head badge of the Cahoons gleaming in the starlight. And I remember as I knelt down by her grave, I remembered when Patrick spoke to me.
You are late, brother.
You'll take the high road and I'll take the low, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye.
In a little while, they'll take a man from his cell in Carlisle jail, and then a warden will come to the street door, and he'll tack up a little notice, and if you can get close enough, you can read it. It'll say, the sentence of death upon the person of Robert Kilpatrick Cahoon, late of Luss, Dumbarton Shore, Scotland, has been duly carried out. And then I'll take the low road back to Scotland. But where will I go? I have murdered my brother.
Thank you to our wonderful performers and to our brilliant production manager, Barb Shoulders, and to you, our audience. We hope you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for the second half of our doubleheader, The Big Box. Strange things happen out there on the open highways. Spooky and strange. That show is coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
By yon bonny banks and by yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, you'll take the high road and I'll take the low, and I'll be in Scotland afar, yeah. But me and my true love will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny banks of Lomond. 'Twas there that we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, steep side of Benlament, and in purple hue the Highland hills we view, and the moon coming out in the gloaming. Oh, you'll take the high road and I'll take the low, and I'll be in Scotland afar, yeah. But me and my true love will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny